Hey there. So, are you thinking about making a move here to Utah? Well, if so, you are in luck because today I'm going to be sharing with you some different things of things I wish I would have known before my family and I made a move here to Utah. We were living in Southern California, and honestly, I am one of these people. I don't know about you, but I make a pros and cons list for just about everything I do, and I had my pros and cons list to moving here to Salt Lake. And today I'm going to share with you some of those things that you should know about before you decide to make a move here. And let's hop into it right now. Mariah here. Welcome back to the channel, or welcome to the channel if this is your very first time here. I'm a licensed and active real estate agent here in Salt Lake City, and this channel is literally everything you need to know about eating, working, playing, sleeping, and living in the Salt Lake City, Utah area. If that is of interest to you, consider subscribing down below and make sure you tap that bell for notifications so you are notified every week I drop a new video. We hear from people like you all the time who are looking to make a move, who are looking to relocate, or looking to buy or sell a property here in Utah, and we absolutely love it. So if you're thinking about making a move in a week, in a month, or even a year from now, feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, and it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. So like I said, it wasn't that long ago that my family and I decided to make a move from Southern California here to Utah. And I'm telling you, we got a little bit of pushback from many people that we are friends with in Southern California. And they're like, wait a minute, why are you moving to Utah? Wait, you know about some of these things in Utah, right? I'm like, we have been going to Utah every summer for many, many, many years. And every time we come out here for summer, I'm like, this place is awesome. Like, I love Utah. Keep in mind, I really didn't know too much about the winters and snow and all that, but we're going to get into that. So, number one, let's start with the cost of living. The cost of living here in Salt Lake is going to be lower than somewhere like, the East Coast or California or some places in Colorado. It is going to be a lower cost of living than some of the surrounding places. However, just like just like everywhere, cost of living has definitely gone up. But when we are talking about utilities here, at least from what I have noticed, when you're talking about water and trash and sewer and electricity and gas, those things tend to be significantly lower than for us when we were coming from Southern California. And I remember, even just the water bill, when we watered our little patch of grass that was this big, it cost, more than it cost here in Utah to water, quite a bit more. So utilities, living expenses tend to be significantly less than some of the surrounding areas. So number one is the cost of living. Number two, simply the outdoors. The outdoor activities, sure, you're going to have a lot of great outdoor options in other places. But I know for me personally, the outdoor activities that we have been able to experience here have been so fun. And I feel like everything's kind of at your fingertips. So a lot of people who are looking to relocate, I get calls like this all the time. They're like, Mariah, I really want to be kind of close to the mountains so that we can take our dogs on walks, or we can, go here and there, like we can go do things. And I'm thinking, okay, well, if you are in Salt Lake, or even if you're in Utah County, or if you are north of Salt Lake, if you are, thinking Park City, if you're, many of these different places, you will be surprised how close you really are to the mountains, or you really are close to trails, or you're wanting to get to these different things. If you are, an outdoorsy sort of person, there are going to be many things that are very, very close by. I know for us personally, we love taking our family on bike rides. And so we'll just hop on trails that are super close to our house, and we can ride for miles and miles and miles. And as we ride, there are little parks along the way. There are restrooms, there are drinking fountains, there's bike stations. There's just a lot of different things that are accessible for that, which, moving kind of right on, we're talking about outdoors and all of that. Number three is the Four Seasons. And with that Four Seasons, you are going to have a lot of different outdoor activities that, cater to the different Four Seasons. So here we are right now. You can see it is gorgeous. There is still snow on the mountains though. And we are in summer here. But it is, the weather still feels great. Right now it's probably about 75 degrees, but the evenings get really nice and cool. It will get quite a bit hotter depending. You're going to have 85, even to 90-degree days. but it's not going to be consistent day after day after day. You're going to end up having little dips, and thunderstorms will kind of, roll through. During the winter months, obviously, we have snow. Yes, we have snow, and people come from all over the world to, ski here because of the world-class snow and the world-class ski resorts that we've got here as well. So skiing is a big one. Outdoor activities is another big one. Like I said, the hiking, the biking, the skiing, the snowboarding, the snowshoeing, the paddle boarding. I mean, really fly fishing. There are so many outdoor activities to do here with the Four Seasons, and I know it's a big draw for many. Speaking of the Four Seasons, which rolls right into the next one, is weather. You can see today, typically in the morning, at least this is what I have noticed, the mornings seem to be a little bit calmer with the wind, but in the afternoon, late afternoon, and even evenings here in Utah, you will start to notice a real pickup in how windy it is. And it usually, it'll kind of blow through and then settles down, and in the morning you wake up and it's not windy at all. So you'll notice just a change in temperature, you'll notice a change in the weather, and windier in some areas compared to others. So just kind of know that going into it as well. Number 5, another big thing, another big draw for people coming here is simply the job market, the job opportunities. There are a lot of different job opportunities here in the Salt Lake City, Utah area, and a lot of the surrounding areas. If you go to Lehi, which is just 25 minutes south of Salt Lake City, it is known as the Silicon Slopes. It's a big tech industry that is there. There are a lot of jobs in in Salt Lake as well. And then there are a lot of things just with jobs, with education. So there are a lot of universities here. There's a lot of higher education. There's elementary and middle and high school. All of those different things draw a lot of people here simply because there are a lot of teaching positions. And then construction. Construction is a big one here. If you are in construction, it seems like, at least, in the line of work that I am in, people are constantly looking for subcontractors for anything that goes along with building a home. And a lot of home builders here have been backed up for a long time simply because they are not able to find enough contractors to help in that building process. So if you are at all a builder or anything in home construction, that might be a good option for you here in Utah. Next up is education. If you are if you have children that are looking to go to college, there are so many different options here. I've actually helped several families that have college age kids that are moving here, and they're going, you know what, we actually want to be closer to our children, so we are moving here to Utah. So when they're going to the different universities here, we're going to be a lot closer by. So education, there's the University of Utah, there's Brigham Young University, there's Utah Valley University, there's Weber State, there are so many universities here, so it's a big draw. And another big draw is if you live here, you get in-state tuition. Yes, in-state tuition. And I know, when we were living in California, in-state tuition, even at many of the state schools, is significantly higher than it is here in Utah. And especially for college, there are a lot of different things. If you have a certain GPA, if you have a certain, different things, that there are a lot of scholarships for that as well. So higher education, universities, that is a big draw for people moving here too. Public transportation is also another draw for people that are, wanting to take public transportation into the city, into Salt Lake, or outside of the city. Now, keep in mind, when my husband and I lived in San Francisco for a brief second while he took a job in the financial district, and getting from, where we were for him to commute in was much easier than it is here in Salt Lake. Just, here in Salt Lake, they are getting that transportation, they are getting that public transportation more accessible, but keep in mind, it does go to some communities and it doesn't go to some other communities. So just kind of know that if you are thinking about, needing public transportation, that might be something that will help determine what area, what neighborhood, what location you want to be in. Next up, we have to talk about housing costs. Yes, housing costs here in Utah. Yes, the affordability, like I had mentioned in the beginning, is definitely more affordable than some of the surrounding states. Cost of living in terms of the housing costs have gone up dramatically. However, like I said, compared to some other places, people that are moving here, they're feeling like they're getting a bargain because the housing prices, are less than some areas. However, I've had families that are reaching out that are like, hey, you know what? We're moving from Texas, we're moving from Arizona, we're moving from some of these other states. And, what can I get for this amount of money? What can I get for this? We're both taking jobs in the city. So we want to figure out like what it was. If that is you, feel free to reach out to my team and I. Like I said, we hear from people like you all the time. Let's figure out, get you set up with a lender. We can figure out how much you're pre-approved for. We can figure out kind of the parameters of what you're looking for, and then we can kind of go from there. But just know that there are a lot of housing, options here. Inventory is a little bit lower, like it is many other places, but there are still a lot of good options for you. Moving right along to healthcare, people are drawn here because we have some phenomenal hospitals. We have some great health centers. We've got some, really top-notch physicians here in Utah. So healthcare is another big draw coming, moving here from other places, especially here to Salt Lake. Next up is the travel. Yes, the travel and the international airport. Here in Salt Lake, we've got an international airport. It is the Delta Hub. And actually, I just heard the other day, this is kind of exciting, about 30 minutes south of Salt Lake is Provo. Yes, Provo. And Provo has a small little airport. And I just recently heard that they are talking about making Provo actually into like that Provo airport. They're actually talking about expanding it into an international airport as well. So for all of you travelers out there, this is big news because not only do we have the Salt Lake International Airport, we do have the Provo Airport, which potentially could be also an international airport as well. Next up, we have to talk about traffic. Yes, coming from Southern California, I remember sitting in hours and hours and hours, I'm telling you, of traffic. And so coming here to Utah, I remember just feeling like, oh my goodness, there is nobody on the road, even though there, depending on the time of day, depending on which direction you are commuting, east to west, west to east, north to south, right? Depending on the day, depending on the direction that you're commuting, there can be traffic. But compared to, like I said, many other places, especially for us down in Southern California, we moved here and we thought like, gosh, we literally got hours back in a week because we're not sitting in traffic. Even, getting my kids to all of their different things. I've got 4 kids. So even driving them to soccer practice and driving them to gymnastics and dance and all those different things, I'm, 5 minutes away from this and 3 minutes away from this and 4 minutes. I mean, literally, like the commute there is no commute anymore, is basically what I'm saying. Which kind of leads me into the next one when I'm talking about commuting. This kind of goes back to education as well. If you have school age children, many of the public schools, they have public transportation. They have buses that can take your children to and from school. And actually, many people use the buses here. So that is an option if you're looking for transportation, if you're looking to, reduce your commute time and travel and, traffic and all of that. The bus systems are very strong here, especially for school age kids. And last but not least is the sense of community. Yes, the sense of community and the sense of really neighborhood and community pride that you feel here in Utah. Each city, each surrounding area, neighborhoods, many people have, community days for whatever it is, or city days. So depending on what area you are in, a lot of the neighborhoods, a lot of the cities have different community celebrations. They will have different park days. They will have different festivals, different celebrations. They have 5K races. They've got, food trucks that come out for different community events. And it's not uncommon, especially in the summer. I mean, you can go to a different event, at a different community event every single weekend. And speaking of like the community events, same thing goes along with like farmers markets. If you are into farmers markets, Salt Lake has some incredible farmers markets that are there. Same thing with Provo, Park City, Heber. They have some really cool farmers markets as well. And people, especially out in the summer too, they will do like movie nights in the summer, movies in the park, different things like that. So really there is a huge sense of community here in Salt Lake. So if you are thinking about making a move here to Utah, hopefully some of these, things that I had mentioned give you a good idea. We talked about cost of living, we talked about housing costs, we talked about traffic, we talked about education and the job market. Same thing, going along with public transportation. We've got, like I had mentioned, the 4 seasons. So don't be shocked if, it starts snowing in October and doesn't stop until April or May, or sometimes even you'll get a little snow flurry here or there in June. But just kind of know these things, if you're thinking about making a move. And like I said, too, it gets windy. It does get windy here, and especially in different areas, depending on where you're at. And hopefully, this gives you, like I said, a little idea of what it's like to live in Utah. And if you are thinking about making a move here, my team and I hear and help people like you all the time. So feel free to give us a call, shoot us a text, send us an email, let us know how we can help you. And my team and I, like I said, help people like you all the time. And it would be our absolute pleasure to connect with you. Take care, and wishing you a fabulous rest of your day. Bye.